Out of This World with BJ and
Jim.
Tonight we're going to be discussing reincarnation. So
Reincarnation, otherwise known as past lives. Well, not quite the same thing. By definition, reincarnation means a person, after they died, went out of their body and went somewhere. Maybe heaven or maybe to some sort of a place, and then were sent back to Earth to be in another human body or even another animal's body. Well, whereas in the subject of past lives, it isn't necessarily so. A person might simply skip from one body to the other.
Yeah, people. Yeah, I do get what you're saying. Well, let's look at it from the Christian standpoint. A lot of Christians say, "Well, I'm Christian. I don't believe in reincarnation because Jesus didn't teach that." You know, but it's actually not true. Christianity, for its first 500 years, believed in reincarnation, and
that's what I hear. In fact, I found something on the internet written by Donna Ciccarella, and what she is, she's a past life reader, and here's what she wrote about why doesn't Christianity accept reincarnation and the belief in past lives. And she writes, although Eastern religions accept reincarnation as part of their doctrine, Christianity has rejected it since 553 AD, when it was dropped from their doctrine at the Fifth Ecumenical Council at Constantinople. At that time, the Roman Empire was divided into two parts. The Eastern Empire at Constantinople, that's Istanbul now, and the Western Empire at Rome. It has been noted historically that the rejection of reincarnation with the possibility of past and future lives was personally motivated by Justinian, the emperor of the Eastern Empire, and his wife, Theodora. Although the vote of reincarnation at the council relied on bishops from both the Eastern and Western Empire, only 2 bishops from Rome came to Constantinople to vote. Here's why. As 2 previous popes had been murdered after they denounced the dropping of the belief of reincarnation of the Bible, many of the Roman bishops were afraid to vote against the wishes of Justinian. After the vote, all Bibles were confiscated throughout both empires, burned and rewritten.
We'll go over to the Indian religion, the religious Bhagavad Gita, and according to that, for the soul, there is never a birth or a death at any time. He is not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primordial. He is not slain when the body is slain. So, and by their version of he being the soul, not that is masculine, just as a pronoun.
I don't believe I have a soul. You know, I am the soul. And you're looking for the human soul. You know, you can look around all over the place, but if you want to know where the soul is, it's the one who's doing the looking.
Another great example here, I've got a lot of works here with me, but this book right here, Life Before Life, it's written by Jim Tucker, MD, and he's a medical doctor, and this book is full of many case studies, but one very interesting case study is the case of Suleiman Caper in Turkey. When Suleiman was born, the back of his skull was partially depressed and he had a birthmark there. When he was able to talk, he told his mother that he was a miller and a village where he had lived, and actually an angry customer had killed him. And when they looked up the miller, and in the town that the kid said he lived in, turned out that actually the miller in that town was murdered by an angry customer. So it's interesting that they were able to, you know, trace that back and find exactly what the kid said is right.
That's incredible. In fact, I know a person, we were close friends, who said he killed himself by jumping in front of a train in his last life. And that this happened in Wichita, Kansas. Well, he took the trouble, after recalling all this, to drive to Wichita, Kansas to look at the court records and the newspapers. He said that as he approached the town, he became extremely agitated, extremely nervous. He found the death. He found that, in fact, a person who was described as being what he thought he was in fact killed by jumping in front of a train. And that the time matched.
That's crazy. You know, and to me, and after reading as many case studies as I have now, you really can't prove reincarnation. You can only prove case studies. Really, is all you have as evidence is case studies, which are basically people remembering past lives. When we go, we look it up, and it turns out everything they said is exactly true.
Yeah, and that's as close as you can get. So we're not trying to prove anything.
Yeah.
You know, we're sure also talking about it.
You know, and according to a lot of all the research I've come to, is that souls travel in groups. We all travel in large groups through many lives together. So we all, you know, if let's say we've had 40 different lives, you'd think you would recognize some people throughout your life after you met all these people and throughout all these ages and lives. But a lot of times souls travel really close, and like in this book, One Soul, Many Lives, it actually talks about how a married couple died and they were reborn as twins. So keeping it together in the family, keeping the souls together, I found that to be very interesting.
I believe that's common.
Well, you have some other books like Return from Heaven, Beloved Relatives Reincarnated Within Your Family. Is actually all about how we were just saying how you probably the closest people to you in your life, your best friends, your girlfriends, your husbands, your wives, you've had many lives with, and you come back as souls. We come back as large soul groups, and you know, we'll have one group and another group and another group, and you might know some souls from this group, and they might know some souls from that group. You have your main soul group.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that part of a religion?
Well, this isn't. This is just my understanding through the out-of-body perspective from from mediums and people who go out of body and say, you know, talk about the life in between lives, literally like the space in between.
Yes.
When we gather as our soul groups together, and you know, and that's why you have like, you know, your spirit guides or just people from your soul group that aren't incarnated with you necessarily, but like people that you've known forever. I don't know. This is just, it's not necessarily what I necessarily believe. It's just what my research has come to show me.
No, I'm thinking, you know, there may be some truth to that, but of course, not all the group would die at the same time.
Oh yes, no, and we're talking about large groups. We're not. We're talking about some soul groups can be thousands of members. You know?
There'll be some.
Yes, some incarnating, doing the work here, and then you have others helping us do the work from above. You call it above, but it's, you know, we're just in physical reality. Gravity gives us that sense of above.
Yeah.
You can actually do hypnosis. You can do past life regression hypnosis, which I'm sure in every major state and city there's practicing hypnotists, and also I know Scientology will lead you a lot to your past lives, it sounds like.
Well, it's not the specific reason why you would go into a counseling session. However, it is a possible side effect.
It's a possible side effect of
Scientology. You'll discover you've lived before. That can happen.
And I find that very interesting. And
one time I was in a laundromat, and I heard a kid say, I'm alive, look at me. And, you know, and I just kind of thought, you know, I had a moment like that too when I was a kid. I think that he just discovered that he's transcended his last life possibility.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's a huge thing with kids. You always hear like little kids say they, you know, see angels or see dead people or remember past lives, and it's just, you gotta listen. Western society, shuts it off. While you look at in Eastern societies, it's much more considered normal, or it's in their religion, so they see a lot more cases of it because they're looking for, or they're more apt and open to it.
Well, it's like this. Eastern religion, Mommy, I remember being a carpenter, you know, and Mommy might say, tell me more. Western religion, Mommy, I remember being a carpenter. Oh, shut up, you're crazy.
Yeah. No, that's exactly true. And then yeah, we should also say, you know, check out, you can check it out online. There's a documentary the BBC made in the 1980s, and it was called Reincarnation, Regression. And basically the show took 4 women, all in their like 40s, and they put them under regression hypnosis and took them back to past lives. Now the therapist that was running this recorded all their hypnotic states and everything they said. So then the next thing they did is they took all these 4 women back to their last life, to their hometown, which like in many cases it ended up being like they were traveling from Australia all the way into Europe and to Germany. And when these women would return to their town that they said they lived, it would come back to them, just flood, and they would know everywhere in the town and where to go, and then they would go and they'd research to see if this woman claimed she was this doctor, and they'd go research this doctor, and the doctor existed, and he was like well known at the university, and you know, and it's just like, it's just 4 solid cases right there, just, you know, right open, and anybody can watch them if you just go look for them, you know. One thing that I always think of when you think about the soul and whether or not reincarnation is, you have, to me it always makes me curious with transgenders, with, you know, people who literally change their sex completely, as maybe they're used to, you know, being a male form and they come in as a woman, and it just kind of shows like through these sex surgeries a woman can become a man again, that it is just a vehicle, and that our soul, we can be whoever we want to be at any time now, at least with technology.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me, that was just something I thought of the other day. I was like, really the body doesn't mean anything anymore. If I want to be a man or a woman, I could be either one.
Yeah.
Now we have the choice. You know, technology's getting to the point where, you know, we'll be able to grow a tail if we want to.
You know, that operation where they make a woman into a man is called an addictomy.
What does that mean? Addictomy? That's a good one. Well, that's going to do it for the show Out of This World with BJ and
Jim.
So take care, guys. God bless.